So this is Guyana's Madness 2020 Elections Update, Part 47. It's been an amazing day, and the work must go on from the comp center early in the morning to the office to work in business, and a very dear employee passed away. We had to take care of them to help the family, and so forth, dear friends and families. I see my Guyana flag looking a little bit twist. We must treat our flag with respect, and our flag up there with respect, and the Guyana map, and anything that brings joy. We must love our country. So, ladies and gentlemen, for a few days, because I've been so tied up with so many things, I could not have done some recordings, and I've been getting a lot of calls. They want to know what's going on with RK is Guyana Free Media. So, friends and families, the RK is Guyana Free Media, and here now is my part that I love with the Oh Beautiful Guyana that I did on the tarmac by Durban Park. Today we will do some recordings by, I think, FREDDIE Kissoon, and then I have another one, a particular one, in which the EU ambassador is giving a serious warning. I must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, friends and families, there's so much of games and internecine and insidious trickery and games going on in the country by a particular set of people, and then trying to blame everyone else. And then they're creating the night of the living dead, where, and you know, I'm a kind of an actress, I can do the role where the living dead are coming from the earth, or they bite each other, and then they start to walk. And one minister said, and I love the minister, my friend, right? I went into the poll booth, and they voted, and then they went right back into their graves. And the night of the living dead, and you will know them. Anyhow, these kinds of things are so bad when you want. It's so immature. It's so despotic when you want political power. When some of you, not all, we've had some wonderful ministers, man, some very fair and professional ones, but some of them got so corrupted with their friends and their families, and they were sucking the energy and the wealth and the power of the people for their ego and themselves, and they were affecting lives. They were taking away people's businesses and contracts, denying people appointments and rights that they were supposed to be enjoying. Friends and families, I'm telling you, I'm disappointed with certain ministers from 2015 and certain power brokers since 2015, and not so much the president. Everything was for themselves, and they tried to deny some of us the right to exist. But there were some good ones. From my experience, the same Amna Ali, I found her to be very professional and kind and genteel. Mrs. Cathy Hughes, I found her to be very nice. Minister of Social Cohesion, good man, a doctor, a good human being, a genteel personality, and a lot of PSs, permanent secretaries in certain ministries. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, I saw permanent secretaries who tried to blank out people's life. I saw ministers who tried to blank out people's life, how they could eat and live, knowing that they're trying to destroy people, trying to deny people their opportunities in life. Why? Instead of trying to win friends, I told them about winning friends and influencing people. I wrote the president. I gave him some complaints, and the man replied with his own hand. That is why I like him, and that's why I still call him Mr. President, because he is the president. You cannot get away from that. And he wrote 4 ministers to look after my matter. And only the one who is now objecting to what's been going on, that is Gaskin, replied about 2 months after. And the other minister, including the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Communities, and another one, they didn't even write or call. And the Finance Minister was supposed to make personal contact according to the orders of His Excellency President David Arthur Granger. He's still the president. And I will defend that to the point. I don't care who says what. I owe nobody know nothing, but I stand for what is right. And this is why right now I'm exposing the shenanigans of what's going on and what they did and how they tried to affect my life. I didn't cuss them down. I left them to the hands of God. So whatever they're going through right now, that strangulation that they're feeling, it is the universal power and the universal energy that is coming down on them to squeeze their skulls who have not tried. Forget about me. I don't care about me. My God and my universe. My universe and my God and all the religions that I love, and I love all the religions. Look, you will see Christianity, you will see Islam, you will see Sanatan Dharma, you will see Buddhism. I love them all. And they will not allow people who are involved in internecine warfare and hate to rule and destroy people's lives. Can you imagine if this set of guys, forget about the beautiful ones, the few names I gave you, there are more. Imagine if these guys get back into power and those who they think they will support them. Can you imagine what they'll do with them? Can you imagine the destruction of their lives and their family? Some of them even go after people's children. What is this? Whoever thought that this 5 years would have been like this? But I salute the good ministers and public servants. There were some really decent ones. And now we're going to the topic at hand, ladies and gentlemen. My intention was to read a few articles today from FREDDIE KISSOONS. FREDDIE KISSOONS is saying, humans are unpredictable except Claudette Singh. May 29, 2020 features. And he's the columnist of the Culture News. FREDDIE KISSOONS is saying, it takes deep layers of suspicious quality in the character of humans to defend Claudette Singh. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can't help it, but I don't know how to be rude. My parents and my masters, my teachers, most of whom were Afro-Guyanese, who taught me gentlemanliness, never taught me to be rude. So she's Justice Retired. So I will say Justice Retired Claudette Singh. FREDDIE KISSOONS like to say David Granger. Other politicians like to say David Granger. But I will say the president. He's still the president according to the laws and the procedures in Guyana and the country. And I wish to teach people some manners. So Justice Retired Claudette Singh. But Singh's deportment over the past 2 months has been an invaluable lesson to the young generation of Guyana. If it weren't for the marauding conduct of Justice Singh, this country would never have seen the true mental structure of some Guyanese that the society has come to know and respect. I will always remain aware of UC Koyana's contribution to our country's history, but I can and will never see his explanations of events during the past 80 years in Guyana in the same way after his most regrettable defense of Justice Singh. I will go back to his books and iconoclastically reassess them. Some women gave an interview in the Chronicle. You'll see my column on Sunday, May 10th, 2020, titled, "After this, we will never see some Guyanese the same way again," in which words of obnoxiousness came out of their mouths defending this lady. One of the dimensions of their mouths defending this lady, one of the dimensions of their output was insulting to civilization. They said Singh is a woman, and they resent the criticism of her because she is a woman. Commentary. I do not believe that because somebody is a woman or a man that we have no right to disagree with them or to critique them. I just wish to clear that for what it is worth, dearest friends and families, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you see I put justice, Freddie Kissoon has been saying sing, but I'm putting justice. And I go back. He says, out of the fear of libel, I would like to tell these women that a human is essentially unfit for society if they refuse to see the flaws in others and are willing to defend these flaws. What is strange is that feminist women in Guyana have remained silent on what these three women told the Chronicle. I guess if a woman uses the N-word or the C-word in Guyana, we must not chastise them because after all, she's a woman. Well, I'm agreeing here, commentary quickly, with Freddie Kissoon. And then also the women want equal status with men, which is right, and I fight for that. And I believe in it. And so, if they do wrong things, they must be critiqued. When you think you've seen all the aberrations and assassinities of humans, you have to come to Guyana to see how inexhaustible the list is. What has Singh done to this nation? Well, a short, simple letter in the newspaper recently tells the tragic story of Singh and the sad reality of a dystopian country named Guyana. After a silence of 2 months, Singh wrote to the newspapers to inform the nation that PPP GCOM Commissioner Says Conraj does not speak for her. And he misquoted her after 2 months of shocking reticence. She made a public appearance to wax lyrical on such inconsequentiality. One of the wonders if Singh is capable of separating, it seems, is frivolities from exigencies. This is the same lady whose peculiar behavior one evening at GCOM Command Center in the Ashman building sent shockwaves through Guyana, and I will add, and around the world. I am adding that. I must have alarmed not only the region but the world. He has it. In the midst of barefaced rigging of the election that night, in the presence of the past CARICOM prime ministers, the observer team from CARICOM, international observer teams and international diplomats from the EU, Canada and the US, and local prominent observers, Singh was locked in a room for hours. Panic spread, I must quote. The opposition leader and others thought that she was imprisoned and held against her will. Back to the article by Freddie Kissoon. The ambience became a scene from an Agatha Christie movie. Voices turned into a tsunami of guesses. Was she a prisoner of the riggers? Was she hiding to obfuscate her immense partialities? Was she killed? Did she faint? Was she on her smartphone talking to Mingo? And I will add, was she probably on her smartphone taking orders from someone who seems to know everything out there and then make ludicrous pronouncements that almost caused a riot by telling lies that people invaded the place with guns will under all that police. And my commentary again, with all the assassinity of some people, with all the police there, people, or they even said Irfan Ali went in with people with guns. This is very wrong and very bad for a political powerhouse and a man who has serious political ambition to say these things. Back to the article. So she was asking, did she faint? Was she on her smartphone talking to Mingo? And then I made a commentary. Now to the article again. Hours after, A smiling Singh with an infinitesimal smirk of cynicism on her visage emerged from her comfortable prison and emulated the gait of Peter Sellers in his Pink Panther movie series. Singh has never explained what happened in that room. But here's what Guyanese were told afterwards on the Kite Show radio. Adam Harris told me and Leonard Gildharry that while in her locked room, she sent for him and Glenn Lal. They went down to see her, but the police refused to open the door even though they told him she summoned them. It was a pantomime. She had no intention of seeing the two powerful media personalities. It was one of her games. I'm only now reading the article. I didn't read this article before, ladies and gentlemen. They went down to see her, according to Freddie Kissoon. But the police refused to open the door even though they told him she summoned them. It was a pantomime. She had no intention of seeing the two powerful media personalities. It was one of her games, according to Freddie Kissoon. The play has gone on. Singh moves from one part of the stage to another and will be there until the denouement or denouement, when she draws the curtain to end the histrionics. She will be as predictable as she always was since she became the lady that could not see the boat Mingo was sailing in and the direction he was going, although the entire nation saw Mingo rowing that boat. What form the document and what form will the denouement take? With Singh, that is easy to know. She is a predictable lady. Her three peculiar colleagues in GCOM, including the manager of the WPA head office, really ironic Walter Rodney, is turning in his grave in brackets. Desmond Trotman will ask for a declaration or of a nullification of the election. Singh with her Peter Sellers, a smile will agree. You want to bet? Don't bet. You will lose. Singh is very predictable. No one in the world should trust David Granger. I say President David Granger. In fairness, the man is still the president. May 28, 2020, featured Freddie Kissoon, Culture News Speaks. And I'm just reading as people love my style of reading, they say. And they don't get to read, sometimes they don't understand, and it goes around the world because I have thousands of viewers and they enjoy it. Do the analysis for yourself, Freddie says, without help from others. If you are neutral in the current political crisis, but you are leaning toward accepting David Granger over the other election contestants, you owe it to yourself to do that. Here is an analysis with plausibility that shows Granger is not to be trusted. My arguments of Granger's deceptions are not new. Granger has the inclination of using his Burnhamite approach to power in his emanations. Should the population trust the president or prime minister who in the 21st century held 3 press conferences in his 5 years rule? What is the answer? I believe he lacks self-confidence and is afraid that he will fall down with hard questions. Here is where Granger lacks any knowledge of Guyana's sociology. Almost 80% of our journalists are not university trained. Almost 80% do not engage in substantial investigative journalism. If Granger is fearful of being hard questioned from them, will he ever sit down with a sharp, independent intellectual and defend his politics? Granger's presidency is replete with dangerous interpretation of politics, power and events. I have dealt with his proclivity to interpret constitutional decisions in frightening ways never before seen in any previous president in the CARICOM region. He went to extreme levels which also involved comedy when he said, A persuasive remark by the CCJ president meant that he could submit to himself a list of GCOM candidates, consult the opposition leader, then accept one from his own list. He went on so far to summon a meeting with all diplomatic envoys to assert that illusion in his mind. Is this the president a modern country deserves, according to columnist FREDDIE KISSOONS in the Kaicho News? One more example before I discuss his current deceptive outlays. He had 4 ministers looking into the oil industry as it was being put on a sound footing. When the head of the Department of Energy was choosing, one of these ministers said they had an input in the selection of Dr. Mark Bainu. It turned out that Dr. Mark Bainu was not trained in oil economics or petroleum engineering. There are many more instances of Granger's dangerous deportment that needs to be put under constant scrutiny. Here is the latest. In the same interview in which he is advocating inclusive governance, he again displayed his proclivity to put his ridiculous definitions on sensitive issues, thereby exposing his autocratic personality. My only desire is that the media should be truthful and explain to the Guyanese people what has occurred since the 2nd of March. And I believe if the media were truthful, if political parties were honest, we would be able to overcome some of the anxieties and apprehensions. There's been a lot of misinformation. There have been fake reports, and this has caused the confusion. Make no mistake, he's not alluding to the Chronicle. Make no mistake, he has the Kaicho News and Stabrook News in mind. Make no mistake, he's not referring to the naked skullduggery of Mingo. Make no mistake, he is not including the blatant depravities of his political party has introduced into electoral behavior never before seen in this country. Let me read that again, that paragraph from FREDDIE KISSOONS. Make no mistake, he's not alluding to the Chronicle. Make no mistake, he has the Kaicho News and Stabrook News in mind. Make no mistake, he's not referring to the naked skullduggery of Mingo. Make no mistake, he has not including the blatant depravities his political party has introduced into electoral behavior never before seen in this country. Make no mistake that if he should head the next government and accept inclusive governance, it will be on his understanding of what inclusive governance is, and his meaning will differ from the international examples and the fundamental pillars on which inclusive governance rests. Granger loved the ambience he was in when he made those remarks. It was an ambience in which he did not have to search for intellectual answers. Enrico Wolford put a self-serving leading question to him, and he ran with it the way a toddler goes after his first chocolate taste. This is the president who wants inclusive governance, yet he makes unsavory use of state resources to propagandize. Ladies and gentlemen, a commentary. And we have seen the inclusive government so-called alliance thing. And we have seen what has become of the AFC. Imagine the politician for the Apno AFC, and he was Charandas at that time, for the Berbice quarantine area, did not know that they were closing down the sugar estates, and only knew about it when the estates were closed. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and families, do we realize what is happening? What has happened to the AFC? And then the AFC is tagging along because of the bread and butter and the perks. And they have made into virtually nothing. They have been mashed. You know what they call the Pringles potato chips? Nice cut, very nice taste. It has nothing inside of food value. It is mangled and defangled. The AFC has been mangled and defangled, and any other party in there that's supposed to be a coalition, if you look at them, they're all washed out and wiped out. One has to be realistic. And do I blame President Granger and his party? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If people are idiotic and hungry for power and some bread and butter, and they will betray their souls, knowing wrong is still being committed and betray their souls, of course, you eat them up, man. But I'm not a politician, so I can't do that. Not in business or anything. For example, there's some business people aligned with a powerhouse in that party, and they want to do everything on the face of the earth. A man might be doing a little something here and there, they want to do that. A man is doing a little something there, one thing, and he wants to do that. The gluttonousness of some of these close contributors of party politics and some in power in party politics, they ought to be ashamed and disgraced for themselves. So the question is, after inclusive governance in which he is president, will he allow the state media to employ independent journalists who will examine objectivity in the direction of the state and heap praise on non-PNC ministers who excel and report on the mediocre PNC ministers who can hardly reason? Have you ever heard commentary? Anyone say anything good about the other alliance ministers, giving them any credit for anything, even though they might be better? Let us be realistic. This is how politics is, you know. The big lion is to eat up the other guys and hold the power and get the meat and leave you not even with the bones. Or will Guyana see President Granger did what he did to his coalition partner? Oh, very good, Freddie Kissoon, you give him on his presidency. Or will Guyana see President Granger, that's what I believe in, did what he did to his coalition partner? We have to remember, President Granger is a military man and a tactician. We also know when soldiers, military people get into power, they usually do not like to leave the power. Regardless of the age, regardless of how sick they are, they like to hold on to that power to the last of their breath. He invoked the Constitution for the AFC and asserted his constitutional right to name his own Prime Minister, choose his own ministers, and designate which portfolios which minister would have, even though they have an article of association and agreement, Hermanston Accord, and so on and so on. And then also, according to the agreement, Prime Minister Nagamuto was supposed to chair cabinet. But eventually it was proven that Prime Minister could not do that. He had to be something else, a guy fetching water, technically so to say, on the political powerhouse and cutting ribbons and doing some ceremonial work, because the president took, by law, the president is right, the man is a tactician, a military tactician, the chairmanship of the cabinet. I grew up in politics with people like Rupert Roopnarine. Rupert Roopnarine was one of the revolutionary guys. As a youth in primary school and high school, I used to be hot to go and get the magazine called The Raccoon from the University of Guyana and their group. And then I used to look out for the Mirror and so on, and even the New Nation, because I was very hot. Even though I'm not a political personality, I liked. And so I used to go as a little kid on the road, waiting for the cars to come in, to go to Uncle Ram's store, to pick up these items. These newspapers. I was hot, man. I liked it. I liked politics. But I'm not a politician. This is why I chose Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And I choose Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thine will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I choose religion. So, Freddie Kissoon is telling us, he grew up in politics with people like Rupert Roopnarine. More about him, I'm pretty sure, later on. Clive Thomas. These were giants of the WPA and I think the Liberator Party and so on. UC Guyana, Moses Bhagwan, etc. They were all critical of Burnham, Jagan, Hoyt, etc. What do these gentlemen think of Granger? You never know in life. Maybe they think that in Granger, Nietzsche, philosopher, Obermensch has arrived. That's an essay, philosophy by Nietzsche. So friends and families, I wish to put a hat there now for Freddie Kissoon. There are many others that I had wanted to read because I missed over the past week and the week before. And I want to just look at the image of Freddie Kissoon. Freddie, thank you, boy. You're strong, you're brave. You are not an opportunist. I have to give you that. Wrong was meted out to you, Freddie. And you know, Freddie Kissoon, I'm very depressed and upset about something that was done to your family. I met your wife, an amazing lady. One time I was thinking of opening up a fish farm. And I went and saw her at Go Invest. And she was such an elegant lady, Freddie. You're blessed. You're right to always honor that genteel, intellectual soul. I want to thank her for listening to me and giving me the right advice. I wanted 100 acres. She said, well, listen, take 25 acres and start with that. I didn't take it. I didn't move on with it. But she said, look, I could do, and she would give me all the sound advice and guidance. God bless her. She's a good woman. The People's Progressive Party. People's Progressive Party, you made some terrible mistakes. That termination of Freddie Kissoon's wife was most inhuman and uncalled for. And now you realize, you see how the current government hate Freddie Kissoon? At first they loved him. Now they hate him. And it shows that he's a balanced personality. He's a balanced personality, I beg your pardon. He's not an opportunist. I think People's Progressive Party, Civic, if you get back into power, give that man a national award for journalism and free thinking. Rehire his wife if it's possible and apologize to that wonderful lady. I want to tell you politicians something. You of the PPP, where I have friends. You of the PNC, where I have some friends still. And any other party. Particularly the absolute power broker and the one who want to control everything and all the lies and all the manifestations and all the eagle and the blind eagle and the eagle that is sick, that's flying all over the place. When you do a wrong to somebody and you lack the conscience of realization to realize you're doing wrong, it means you're socially, you're spiritually dead. It means your conscience is not speaking to you anymore, that you're doing something wrong. And the universe will create all kinds of scenarios to send its missiles that you cannot see to affect you and your party and make your life very miserable. You cannot hurt innocent people and expect to live. So PPPC, you had to lose 2015. If you did not lose 2015, your ministers would have become total tyrants. And Abdul AMC got in only 5 years. And look at what some of them are doing. Everything for their family and their friends. Independent people, ordinary people, especially if they speak a little bit, or they have a personality of strength and power and a voice, and they would not succumb to toe sucking or manipulation, you want to destroy them. So PPPC, if you get back into the power, correct yourselves and don't go to destroy anyone for, well, I know the PPPC is not a racist party, Never should anyone be as giving opportunity because of race or mere party official reasons or friends and family and so forth. Yes, you got to look after your own. You got to look after those who work with you and sacrifice, as this one has done. But at the same time, don't go out of your way to destroy people's lives. People's Progressive Party, from a friend to you. I said the same thing to the PNC APNO when they won the last election. And I gave many guidance to the president. And I told them, and I will tell you PPPC, because it seems to me you're getting into power. It seems to me you're getting into power. Some people don't want you to get into power. Do not forget to win hearts and minds. There is a technique. I wrote the president that, you know. He replied me personally. Win hearts and minds of people, whoever wins the election. And whoever wins the election, talking to both sides now. Whichever you win the election, don't go out of your way to disaffect people. Win them over. Reach a hand to them. Walk them over to your place. Embrace them. Make them your own. Maybe you win their hearts forever. So that's my end of the reading for Freddie KISSOONS, an advisory to the politicians of Guyana who seek for power. Peace and blessings of God. Your brother, your friend, me, Haji, Brother Ocean Khan, saying thank you and farewell, friends.